right, welcome everybody. Welcome to the very first episode of Make Loud Not War presents Hot Shit. This is going to be a monthly series that I'm going to do. I'm going to feature songs hot off the presses, something that I'm working on right now in real time, and going to talk a little bit about, what are the instruments that went into it, the ideas that went into it, a little bit about how I've been recording it, and then we'll decide together whether it's hot or whether it's not. So anyway, let's jump right into it. This time we're gonna be talking about a song that started out just called Shoegazer because it was an idea that I had for putting together kind of a shoegazer song, and based on kind of the same old chords that I use a lot of. For those of you who are guitar players, it's the Cage system, C-A-G-E-D, chords that work really well together. I don't really feel any particular need to apologize for sticking with the classics. There's a reason why it works. And in this case, in fact, I'm even guilty of not using the C, so this is going to be an aged progression. So I recorded the song using this guitar, a guitar that I built from a yard sale and that I got for $20 and then $900 worth of parts in it. Really hot pickups in it, really good for doing that dense kind of wall of sound, distorted sound, which I'll talk about in a minute. But for the sake of this particular recording, or for this show, I'm going to play it for you on this hollow body Duesenberg, so you can actually hear it. And again, like I said, it's basically four chords. Starts out on an E, then we get to a D, and then to an A, and then we have some variations where we'll do an A minor, or sometimes we'll do an A sus4. Here's what it sounds like. So you can feel like it's got a really heavy rhythmic feel, kind of a locomotive rhythm to it, very percussive in nature. I'm picking it pretty hard. But then when we get to that sus4 part, then we're using some more dynamics, so going to a softer picking stroke, and trying to get a little bit more of a wave, more of a come and go feel to the sound. So. Then we go to a chorus, using that same dynamics, building. And then here comes that G, back up to the A, and that's just basically the idea. And the song, like most songs that I write, there's a couple exceptions, but most of the songs I write are really just A-B parts, or chorus and verse. This song isn't any different. So trying to use the dynamics to kind of break it up a little bit so it's not just constantly that rhythmic hammering. So that's the basic rhythm to it. And then it hangs together pretty well on its own, just the vocals and guitar when I play it acoustically like that. But when I recorded it, like I said, I wanted to go for that shoegazer kind of wall of sound, so I threw some effects on. And for the guitar, I relied really heavily on the Keeley compressor. So this is my go-to choice for a distortion sound, is to just use this. These are the exact same settings I use every time. I haven't changed it in 3 years, and I don't think I ever will. So just turn it on, let it eat. And that's what I use. I actually use 2 different pickup configurations. We'll talk about that when we look at the mix. And then, with that much density and with that much grit thrown on those really hot pickups, and pushing it, I pushed it through a clean amp, but it still came through really, really heavily distorted. I felt like I needed something to hold up the bottom end, the lower frequencies, so wanted to make sure I got a bass sound in there. Here's my Ibanez Thunderbroom, my very first guitar, and went again with the same chord progression, the E, the A, and the D, actually E, D, A, and it's really just kind of an octave feel to it, so it's... That's pretty much the idea, just underpinning it, that same, it's got a really strong rhythmic component to it, but I play with a little bit more swing as opposed to the very on-the-nose kind of rhythm of the guitar, and it gives it almost like a phasing effect, which you'll hear in the mix. So those are kind of the rudiments of the song, and maybe now it's time to listen to it. Well, first let's flip over to the Studio One session. So this is where I record and mix all the songs. And if I take down the mixer panel, you can see that it's really very straightforward. Very few tracks in here. So I've got the guitar panned left and right, 2 different recording passes on it on different pickup combinations. So 4 guitar tracks doubled, but it's always the same kind of sound. Starting off with the chorus into the verse, you can see how it is, and then it ends with sort of a play on the chorus out through the coda. When we get into the bass, you can see that there's the effect that I used to really fill it out was this here, the Beltsville Legend. So this is from my pal Nathan. Really cool fuzz pedal, and you can see that I got the knobs cranked up pretty high on it to get a really dense sound on it. And used that fuzz a lot here in the session. First pass through, it was so dense that you couldn't even really tell from the waveforms the difference between the verse and the chorus part. But as I went through and kind of adjusted some of the settings, got a little bit more single note clarity on the second tracking of the bass. But they're pretty much lined up right through the middle. If we go back to the mix, you can see that it's just slightly offset left and right. And then as we go into, and there's even a solo section. I did the solo for the song on the bass, which we'll hear in a few minutes. For the vocals, again, lead vocal was done with a little bit of outboard distortion. I used the TC Electronic X1 pedal there to get kind of that phone booth, 50s phone booth kind of sound. Which sounded, I like the way that played for the verse part of this, and I did a couple of harmony overdubs, just kind of building out the thickness of the sound. For the chorus, though, no effects processing on this. It's more of like a whisper vocal, but with the gain turned up so that the volume is really there, and it really brings you in. It kind of creates this cool intimacy. So I guess that's enough talking about it. I'm going to go ahead and turn the knob here a little bit, and we're going to listen to it.
When I get you home.
So you'll notice the drum sound, I do that all on the MIDI pads, but it's done with a lot of toms to build reverberation on it and add a little thickness to it. So hopefully you can hear kind of how the vocal character changes there, and we get into, back into the main part of it. Here's that solo coming up. So there's the song. I hope that it gives you a sense of what I was going for with that song, and I'd really love to hear your feedback on it. What you think about it. Does it remind you of anything? Do you think it needs anything more, anything less? Any comments that you offer, I'll be grateful for. And if you like this kind of content, I hope that you'll consider subscribing, checking out more updates. We're not just going to do this. I'm not just going to do this every time. I'm going to bring out new content every week, but sometimes I'm going to be talking about just kind of the sounds, and some of the instruments, the effects, the recording techniques that I use outside of the context of a specific song. Other times we'll talk about influences that went into a song or a song idea that I want to pursue. Do some interviews, with people that I think would be interesting to hear from, and definitely going to do some situations where we're going to make sure that we play some songs live so that people can hear them, be playing along with some of the backing tracks so you can hear what they sound like when I play them for you. So that's it. Please, if you enjoyed this content, hit the like button to let me know that you made it this far. If you didn't like it, hit dislike too. It's a learning experience for me, and I'm appreciative of all the feedback. I want to say thanks to anybody who, stuck with it this long, and I hope that I'll see you again soon. Take care, everybody. Peace.